Everyone, and welcome to the Be Real, Get Real podcast. I am your host, Nancy Matthews, one of the founders of Women's Prosperity Network. And this show is all about featuring amazing women who have been being real, getting real, and achieving real results. These are the stories of extraordinary women. And today I get to introduce you to Dr. Kelly Gurley. Welcome, my friend.
Hi, how you doing, Miss Nancy?
I am doing very well and very excited about our conversation today. And today's conversation is centered on creating fulfillment in your life, something that we all want. And before we dive in, let me share a little bit about the background of our guest today. So, Dr. Kelly Gurley is an international speaker, best-selling author, certified executive and career coach with an expertise in holistic emotional intelligence, positive intelligence, and life harmony coaching. Her company is called ISO Life Coaching, and ISO in her business stands for, love this, I serve others. Her focus is to empower women to tap into their limitless potential so they can live a life complemented by their profession while living out their passion. She's got a new book that just came out called Nightmare Narcissistic Boss. Oh my goodness. Wake up today with 9 simple steps. So make sure you look for the book, Nightmare Narcissistic Boss. I'm sure we'll talk about that and how it plays into creating a life of fulfillment. So, Kelly, I'm wondering, have you had some nightmares along the way or nightmare narcissistic bosses? No names need to be shared.
And I think this is one of those stories that everybody has, right? I think we've all gone through, once you're not working for yourself, I mean, you could be your own narcissistic boss, but once you're working for others, sometimes you tend to encounter these characteristics. And when they're, colleagues, it's a little bit easier, right? But when they're folks that actually have an impact in your day, your work, your life,
Mhm.
those are very difficult situations to kind of move around. And the book really was I'm a PhD, so I love research. I like looking at data. I like understanding, the mind, the way people operate. So I did a lot of research, put together a lot of different tools and tips and tricks for my colleagues that have been dealing with this, for myself that has been dealing with this, friends and family members. And really by testing these tricks, we were able to come up with, 9 steps that we felt that these really work when you're in this very negative situation dealing with a narcissistic boss. So we explained the understanding from a psychological perspective on from a disorder perspective, I should say, on what the
Mhm.
the signs are, because it is a disorder. It is a true disorder. And then we go into the steps that can work depending on some of the events that you see, with given examples and what we saw worked and what we didn't see work. So it really is a book that you can buy. It's a quick read and you can walk
Mhm.
away with some steps that you could use today.
Fantastic. And just to give a little bit of distinction, what would be some of those traits or characteristics that represent that there is a narcissistic disorder? Can you give us some of those, just so our audience listening in can be, listening for, oh, this person in my life is like that, or my boss is like that, or can you give us some clues?
Yeah, they definitely have that grandiose sense of self where they believe that they're the ones that are most important in the world. They tend to create chaos. So they flip flop a lot on decision making or ideas or even things that they tell you to do. So you see where they might tell you today go do
Mm,
something, and then you do it, and then tomorrow they're mad that you did it, and questioning why you did it and putting you in these very chaotic situations. They have this savior complex as well, so they love to just dive in and help, but that goes back to their sense of self, that it is that they're the only ones that can do anything at any given point in
mhm,
time.
mhm,
They get really enraged and they're very verbal with how they express themselves, and very negative as well. So they tend to lead with fear. So a lot of people around them, they're very fearful of them. However, they manage up well. They do a very good job of hiding some of those personality characteristics from leaders above them. So you really see it with their subordinates. You really see that
mm.
type of adamant, angry, aggressive behavior with their subordinates. So those
Right.
are
So,
just a couple, but the book really goes into a lot more of that distinction of a personality disorder.
and let me share as you're describing some of these, reflecting back on various people I've had in my life, various bosses, colleagues that I've worked with, and I'm like, oh yeah, no wonder I was like, I can't do anything right. You asked me to do this, and then this, like so. I love that you've given a handbook really to guide people through this. So make sure that you go get this book if you're dealing with any of those things. Let's talk a little bit about this, what can sometimes feel as an elusive feeling of fulfillment, and why you really want to support people in, finding that for themselves. Can you dive into that for us?
Yeah, I think it's because I actually went through it myself. I feel these are the best examples, when you're stuck and you have to find ways to be unstuck. And when you found good positive ways, I feel like this is what we should be all doing. We should find good ways to share with others and create this lifeline, because we all get
Mhm.
there. So being somebody that is very goal oriented and very structured and I'm a planner. Everybody knows when it comes to my career, I know exactly what I need to do when. I put myself in places to get the information that I need, to get the experience that I need. I'm that person that would take a pay cut to learn. I'm okay doing
Mhm.
that because I know at the end of the day, I'm heading towards a particular direction. So I worked really hard in my 20s and 30s, getting the education that I needed to get and getting the experience that I needed to get and getting the job that I needed to get. So now I'm in this place where I have a 24-year-old daughter. So she's grown. She did her college education. She's happy in life. I am now in a place where I'm single again, and I am working in a job that I love, and I'm single by choice. And I was happy to be single again and working in a career that I loved, and still just not feeling that fulfillment. And
Mm.
having a place where I had to ask myself, well, what I should create new goals. It's really hard in your 40s to think about, I need new goals. You've had these goals since, for me, I've had these goals since I was younger and spent the
Mhm.
last 2 decades working on them. And I had to stop and tell myself, you have to create this fulfillment. Your job isn't enough for you, right? You're lacking the nurturing side of your life because your daughter is on her own, independent
Right.
and fearless, which is what you wanted. So, what do you need to do to create this place in your heart that's going to give you this joy again, right? And to make you feel alive. So, I had to take that self reflection and say to myself, what am I missing? What am I missing, right? And I in some of my talks, I talk about just taking that evaluation and really looking at things that you love. So just stepping
Mhm.
in and saying, okay, do I what are my hobbies that I enjoy, in a day-to-day basis? What do I enjoy the most about my life and my communications and interactions with humans, with other humans? And, from that evaluation, I realized for me, what I love the most is helping others. And I've always followed a career path. I've been in healthcare IT for a really long time because I believe in companies that have a mission that serve others. And with that being said, I realized that it's because it's my mission. It's not that I was just looking for a company that did it, it's my mission to serve others. So, how can I do this? How can I do this
Mhm.
successfully? How can I create something or an umbrella around this feeling that I have and nurture it and grow it? And I realized that I have always been a coach. I coach my friends, my family, I coach my team, my individuals. I still have team members that no longer work for me, but I'm still the person they come to for advice. They don't negotiate salary before they talk to me. They take a job before they kind of walk it through and say, what do you think? Is this good for my career?
Mm.
So I
Mm.
realized I've always been a coach, and that's the happiest that I feel. I feel really happy when somebody who feels unstuck, just stuck somewhere in their life, regardless if it's their relationship with their families, spouses, children, parents, with their boss, the book, right? Again, right? Or if they're
Yeah.
stuck in life as a whole in trying to figure out what's my next career move, or should I go back to school or not go back to school, right? Or I'm feeling sad and I don't know why I'm feeling sad, and I want to dig into that a little bit to create some more joy in my life. Just that feeling of just feeling stuck. I don't know what to do
Yeah.
next. And I
Well, and I just want to share, I love the perspective of finding fulfillment by looking at what makes you happy. right? And if we can, 'cause I actually went through the same process just prior to creating Women's Prosperity Network. I had all those markers of success. My children had gotten a little bit older, so I was like, okay, I created all this, had these goals that I achieved, but it still felt empty because I wasn't focusing purely on what made me happy. Yeah, that's awesome.
And it's those things that bring you happiness, joy, peace. It's hard sometimes. Some people will tell you, and it's amazing. I have clients that'll tell you, I don't really know what it feels to feel happy. So then I say, well, how do you feel like when you feel peaceful? What are the
Mhm,
things that make you just feel at peace? Maybe it's nature. Maybe you just need to be more of an avid hiker. Maybe that's the thing. But it's digging into yourself and really reflecting to that place that makes you feel that calm. It really
mhm,
comes down to that calm. And everybody has a different thing that makes them feel that calm. But the more you can lean into that, and the more you can allow yourself to just not think too much about the money behind it, right? And all the don'ts and the no's, because we tend to go there, or negative mind puts us in the no's versus in the yeses and the can do's, right? And that's where
mhm,
we,
mhm.
and even if you say to yourself, I really love painting and it makes me feel calm, then I need you to get your easel, get your paint brushes out, paint 15 minutes a day. Give yourself
Yes.
just even that simple break. It will bring a lot more fulfillment to your life.
Yeah, and I love that you're saying to start with finding the peace, the calm, or the happy, whatever adjective most resonates with you. And once you get in that state, more will be revealed to you. Because oftentimes when we're feeling frustrated, disappointed, stuck, there are no answers in that part of the brain, right? When we're operating from that place. And it's interesting because as I reflect back, when I was feeling that, feeling stuck and unfulfilled, my first step was what makes me happy was helping others, specifically helping children. And I volunteered as a guardian ad litem working with children through the court system. So that kind of brought my two things together. And it was once I stepped into that space that the opportunity to create Women's Prosperity Network showed up. It wasn't, the first place I went. So you're getting some great advice here from Dr. Kelly Gurley. Be sure to connect with her at isolifecoaching.com. And this is for anyone who's feeling a little lackluster, stuck, like get back to the roots of what makes you happy. And one of the things that I'd like you to speak to is sometimes when people are in that place, they don't like their job, they don't like their relationship, like, blah, blah, everything's not going well. They throw everything out and think they have to start all over again. But that's not what I'm hearing you say.
No, what I'm saying is to add, not throw out, but add, right? If your life is
Nice.
harmony, there are times where you can add some harmony by doing that thing you love, that thing that brings you peace, and that thing that brings you calm. And what I
Hmm.
challenge my clients to do, and I'll challenge your guests to do here today, is to prioritize those things. We're gonna come up with a lot of things that we love, right? But prioritize it and choose one that you're gonna just do for 6 weeks, right? It takes 21 days to build a habit, takes 6 weeks to create positive engagement, right? So think
Mm.
about that 6 weeks and just try it for 6 weeks and then evaluate then. How am I feeling now? Have you just added a little bit more calm to your disorganized world?
Mhm.
And if not, there's something else on your list that you can try, and give yourself that time, because it's really hard to deal with all the conflict and chaos of the world if you yourself have no ability to find that calm.
So good. That's your takeaway for today. Go make that list of the things that make you happy. You don't have to throw it all away. Just add something in. It's kind of like just putting an extra pinch of salt or a little extra sugar in your sauce that you're making, right? It's like you don't throw the whole batch out. You add things to it to enhance it.
Yes.
Love that. I just made sauce on Sunday, so that's I was like, no, it needs a little more. It needs a little more. Oh, goodness. All right. So, Dr. Kelly, thank you for taking some time out of your busy schedule to share with us today your story, your journey, as well as some really practical tools. When people go to your website, what are they going to find there?
Oh, lots of great information about me, which is, I think it's important so they know a little bit about me and my journey. But then they'll get some links to the sites. I have some other podcasts that I've done. They'll get the link to the book. It's also available on Amazon.com. I believe I have a copy here that I can just hold up for you so you can see what it looks like. Most people know that Angry Boss.
Oh, yeah.
So it is on Amazon.com. And then they can always set up time there to meet with me individually, one on one.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So, once again, thank you for sharing your wisdom and your heart with us today on the Be Real, Get Real podcast, Dr. Kelly.
Thank you so much for having me on.
My
Appreciate you and
pleasure.
appreciate you and all the knowledge you always bring to us as well.
It is my pleasure and my purpose to do so. So that's one of the things I found when I went on the kind of exploration and experiment Dr. Gurley is recommending for you today. So be sure to connect with her at isolifecoaching.com and tune back in for another great episode of the Be Real, Get Real podcast. Until next time, get out there, make a difference, and be real, get real, and achieve real results. Have a beautiful day, everybody. Bye, Dr. Kelly.
Bye. Thank you.